The bright lights of Los Angeles, the potential for multiple big money matches, John Cena, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, all wrestling on the same card in 2023, the return of Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, and a new regime in charge. WrestleMania 39 has the potential to be one of the best WrestleManias ever. There's so many different avenues WWE can explore, and the talent at their hands could lead to something really special. For the first time since 2005, WWE returns to Los Angeles for WrestleMania, but this time it's the first ever WrestleMania without Vince McMahon at the helm, and WWE could really make some noise with this one. And you guys know where I'm going to start with this one: Roman Reigns and The Rock. That's the mega match, that's the match that could sell out anywhere in the world, but for it to happen, Roman would need to lose the championships. Personally speaking, I don't think that match needs the championships. You got to be able to suspend your belief, and it's pretty obvious that Roman's going to win, but without those titles, there's at least a possibility that it could go the other way. With this, WWE also has it right in front of them to tell the perfect good guy, bad guy story. Reigns has been on a dominating run. Having someone from the family come in and fight for the legacy of them is perfect. The battle to see who is actually the head of the table. Two of the biggest stars of their respective eras clashing. All eyes would be on this match, and it's the last thing for Roman to do before he truly goes full part-timer. As time grows closer, it becomes less of a possibility that this will happen, but you gotta ask yourself, if not The Rock, then who? Well, the name that's been floated around as the 1B option is Cody Rhodes. He's out with injury right now, but we all know he's gonna see John Cena's doctor, who's gonna give him super healing powers. He's gonna show up and he's gonna win the Rumble. If that's the case, WWE has the chance to tell another fantastic story of Cody Rhodes' redemption arc, returning to the WWE, overthrowing Roman Reigns, and building one of the best baby faces in recent years. Just imagine the pop he'll get. For the first time in 2 years, Roman Reigns gets pinned 1, 2, 3. Imagine that reaction. He's the perfect guy to do it because looking across that roster, there aren't many other options. So him getting his crowning moment at WrestleMania would be perfect. Reigns has killed it, and it really is time to have a new guy at the top. The reign has run its course, people are getting tired, and it would suck for him to do all this great work as the tribal chief, only for people to sour on him all over again. But now, I want to talk about a legend, someone who everyone knows, and that is Stone Cold Steve Austin. At WrestleMania 38, out of the blue, he main evented night 1 with Kevin Owens, and that match, it did such a good job at kind of masking a lot of deficiencies in the ring for Austin, if he had any at all. It was just a wild brawl, and it was fun. He says he felt good with the match and he liked the reception to it, so it appears as though he has the bug to go again. It's been reported that he's been offered a match at WrestleMania 39 and he's been posting workout videos, and the dude honestly looks great. There's a possibility that in 2023, The Rock and Stone Cold will wrestle on the same card. But the question is who? Another name that's been reported to wrestle at WrestleMania 39 is John Cena. That would be the perfect generational clash. Two of the biggest faces of all time. The face of the Attitude Era versus the face of the Ruthless and PG Era. Two of the biggest box office draws of all time. It doesn't need to be anything crazy, it just needs to be serviceable, but imagine the face-off. Imagine the history that would be written right when that bell rang. Two megastars of their generation, one-on-one, at the biggest show that WWE has put on in years. Even though time has passed and both guys aren't in their prime anymore, the allure and the interest of the match on its own would be electrifying. Let's say Rock doesn't compete on that card against Roman. Cena versus Stone Cold, that's a huge match that's going to get so many eyeballs on it. I'd even say that maybe this match is bigger for a mainstream viewer. If not Cena, there's a guy who's out right now that could slot in nicely, and it does depend on his health, which of course comes first. And that man is Randy Orton. The Texas Rattlesnake versus the Viper. I mean, that writes itself. The RKO versus the Stunner. Another option, and I am going with veteran stars to face off against Stone Cold, is Brock Lesnar. Remember when Stone Cold didn't want to do the job to Brock in the King of the Ring qualifying match? Yeah, 20 years later, you could have them face off at WrestleMania. It would be a cool dynamic to see how that Goliath versus old veteran thing would play out. And I definitely think these are the only 3 viable options I see as the guys who could face off against Stone Cold. And I mentioned the name John Cena. For the past 2 WrestleManias, he hasn't competed in ring. He showed up for his 20-year anniversary and he said that he would be back. Reports are showing him to wrestle at the event, so what could they do? My mind immediately turns to Edge versus John Cena, and I know some of you guys let out an audible groan like, why? Again, it's the nostalgia and kid in me talking. Having a proper conclusion to that storyline would be so fitting. That was the rivalry for a lot of us. Having John Cena at this stage in his career where we know there's not that many more matches left for him, Edge in his final run, that matchup writes itself. The story is right there to pick back up again, and these two being one of the feature matches at that event, come on, it's easy, and sometimes the easy option isn't the wrong one. Another name that I think could benefit big time off of John Cena is Gunther. His booking has been really well done, and I gotta give WWE props. Talk about a dude who's brought back prestige to the IC Championship. That championship, of course, John Cena has never won, so there you go. You have this guy who's on his way to becoming one of WWE's big stars against a guy who's been there, done that. He's won it all, except hold the title that's around Gunther's waist. It writes itself. Bobby Lashley is another viable option, like cold-blooded killer Lashley just decking out Cena. You could do something there, especially with the resurgence of him. Like, this is what he was doing 4 years ago, and this is what he's doing now. It's a night and day difference. Cody Rhodes and John Cena could also be something. If they go with Rock versus Roman for the titles, a one-on-one match would be perfect. Now I want to talk about Brock Lesnar because he's kind of in this weird stage right now. They could do Lesnar versus Lashley 3, maybe with a stipulation. They could also do Brock versus Gunther, which I genuinely think could be a star-making performance for him. Or how about you just throw 3 big sweaty men in the ring, Gunther, Brock, and Bobby, and just have them fight over the arena? I mean, who wouldn't want to see the absolute chaos that would ensue? Another option that WWE could do is Edge and Brock Lesnar. Edge has kind of stated that he's going to retire in 2023. I think it would be a perfect stop on his retirement tour. But let's talk about a different Canadian. You guys watch WWE TV. You know that right now one of the biggest acts in the company, and it is surprising to say, is Sami Zayn. His whole story of joining the Bloodline, being this comedic, lovable dude, not really aware of what's going on, is brilliant. At the same time, you've got Jey Uso, who's not too happy to have Sami in the Bloodline. The Usos are the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history. With the reactions Sami is getting, the work he's doing, if you were to kick him out of the Bloodline, there's potential for something big there. Have Kevin Owens come to his friend's aid. You could set up another story-oriented match for WrestleMania 39. The two best friends taking on the Usos. It just writes itself, and if they do go on to win, you could have the Bloodline slowly crumble after this, while on the flip side, Kevin and Sami hold the titles for a bit, and slowly they build to a proper feud. I saw something pretty cool on Twitter the other day, and it showed that every 10 years there seems to be a big underdog story at WrestleMania, and WrestleMania 40 is in Philly. That could potentially have another one, and it could be Sami Zayn. Keeping with the tag team titles, if that's not the direction they want to go, you could do the Usos versus the Street Profits versus the New Day in either a triple threat elimination match or a ladder match. And ladder matches are what I want to talk about next. For the US title, a mid-card ladder match with all the, I guess you could call them outliers, could work pretty well. Imagine Rollins, AJ, Finn, among others, in a big championship match similar to the one at WrestleMania 31. There's also been some talk that Triple H wants to move the men's and women's Money in the Bank ladder match to Mania, one for each night. And while that sounds cool, personally speaking, it might over-bloat the concept. I think Money in the Bank is a standalone pay-per-view. Personally, it's one of very few gimmick shows that actually works and hits every single year. But for this show in 2023, we're in Los Angeles, home to some of the biggest celebrities, athletes, musicians, personalities, and stars in the entire world. You gotta think that WWE is gonna go all in on celebrity involvement. Last time LA hosted, WWE had these amazing movie parodies, but times have changed. Since 2005, there's so many different avenues WWE could explore. There's more opportunities for crossover. It's more easy to get exposure. Mainly in ring, you gotta think that they'll want the Paul brothers, Bad Bunny, Pat McAfee. That's gonna bring a ton of eyes to WrestleMania. I think Logan and Pat going at it as a pure celebrity match, they've shown enough to the point where they don't need an actual WWE star to hold their hand. You've got to think that Nick Khan, he worked as a talent rep, he's going to try to use his connection to reel in some big fish, only adding eyes to something that already has so many stars. I mean, another match that could be huge from the perspective of online views and just overall interest would be Logan Paul and John Cena. Paul already talked about it.
I mean, truthfully, I think me versus John Cena would break the internet. And I texted Triple H right away. I said, do you want to break the internet again? And that's a dream matchup, dude.
If they want to go that direction, that match feels pretty big, and you'd think that finally John Cena would come back and actually win one. On the women's side, there's a ton of different things you could do. If I had to make a prediction, and I'm not one for them, Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley seems like the direction they're going, and it does make sense. They're kind of mirroring that Cena and Batista path. Final two in the Rumble, both won championships regardless of the Rumble result, and slowly they built to an inevitable clash later on. So I think that could work well. Bianca Belair's work has been fantastic. Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch will probably be the other big feature women's match. It seems a little bit late to do in my opinion, but hey, we'll see. They have history. And lastly, this is Triple H's first WrestleMania as the head of WWE Creative. You gotta think he wants to make a statement like, this is mine now, and he wants to do it in a way that differentiates himself from Vince McMahon's booking. You'd hope that he intends to go all out with everything. He's gonna throw everything towards this show because there's some huge expectations on it without a single match even announced. It's actually so unbelievable that for the first time, a WrestleMania will be without Vince McMahon as the booker. You know how in sports you'll get a new GM and you're waiting for that one big move to really put a stamp on their team, a big splash that differentiates itself from the previous regime? For Triple H, WrestleMania 39 feels like it has to be that move. I've talked a lot, but there's still people who could shape up this show in one way or another. You gotta think that Bray Wyatt will be involved in a big way, Drew McIntyre could do something, Miz because it's Hollywood. There's so much talent to plug and play throughout the card, so much potential for once in a lifetime matches. So many creative matches you could do, whether it's a multi-man, an elimination, something that we haven't seen in a while. There's so many stars at WWE's disposal, but we'll have to wait and see. The potential for WrestleMania 39 is truly legendary. It has everything in its favor to be one of the best of all time, especially with 2 nights. Let me know what matches you guys want to see in the comments below. Drop your dream card, drop your predictions. Just wanted to make a quick one. As always, do take very good care of yourself. Peace.